Matt, in general terms, on a rookie minicamp, is this like an instructional thing, or how do you kind of draw the line between instructional, competitive, and trying to evaluate guys?
Well, it's our first actual rookie minicamp, where we can have this many players. So I think we've made the decision to bring in several guys on a tryout basis to see, their talent level, where they are, if they can help us or not. To make sure we have the best 90-man roster now, but also to gather information for down the line as you get into the season, as you're looking for players. So this is a great opportunity for us to get eyes on players. We're taking the approach of this is not necessarily an evaluation, though, it is, but really for the coaching staff, we're just starting to try to build a plan for each player and give them the best opportunity to make the team and help the team. So, it's a teaching exercise for some guys who, have been drafted and are probably going to make the team, and for other guys, it's an evaluation opportunity to be seen. So it might be a little bit different for each player, but it is a good opportunity for everyone.
For Icky and Matt in particular, how do you kind of view what happens out here on the field this weekend?
It's just them getting their feet wet, learning the offense, learning the defense, though we have been meeting with them since they were drafted virtually. You kind of go from like getting in combine shape where you're practicing for your 40 and your bench press to, running 12 plays in a row, and so you're kind of get your legs underneath you a little bit. But next week, the last week of phase 2 is going to hit them fast, and so they have to walk into the locker room on Monday and join the rest of the team, and so this gets them started, and then from there they'll just have to kind of catch up as best they can.
Matt, for Matt Corral specifically, when you have a college quarterback jumping into an NFL playbook and learning the intricacies of that, but wanting him to be ready to compete come training camp time, how do you kind of phase him into learning that, and how's he been doing very early in the process?
Yeah, it's too early to say anything other than he came in prepared with the stuff that we've given him, and he's in a unique situation when you have a new offensive coordinator. Everyone that's here is learning for the first time, so it sometimes evens the playing field at all positions, right? If you've been in the same system for 4 and 5, like Shaq has been making the same calls on defense for 2 years, so the rookie linebackers are going to have to catch up to Shaq. I think for us, we're going to start Matt from the ground up, from taking a snap, the way that we want him to take a snap, to taking his first step, to his drops, coverage, all those different things. This is about us building a base and a fundamental structure, getting in the huddle, getting out of the huddle, play call structure, understanding defenses, everything. It's making sure that we just start teaching him our way of doing it, and I know Ben and Sean are on that.
Do you Ikem as a strictly left tackle, or do you have to keep an option open at other positions, particularly guard, since he has experience there as well?
Yeah, I think he's a left side player. We're going to play him at tackle. We have the ability to play him at guard as well. We've been doing the same thing with Brady. Do the same thing with Dennis Daly, so that we get them more reps, get them more opportunities, and just make sure that the top 5 guys are out there. So, we drafted him with the hopes of him playing left tackle, but sometimes players, they need a year at guard before they go to tackle. It's happened to a lot of players. Sometimes they're ready to go right now. So it's so early. Our job right now is just to start building on Icky's fundamental base, understanding what our plays are, understanding the communication. It's just the first step in a long road.
You said Icky's a left side player. What would you consider Cade? He came in here and talked about all 5 spots.
Yeah, he's a guy with a lot of. He played center today. He played guard. He played tackle. He's a guy that can do a lot of different things. That's one of the reasons why we were excited about him. So I think he's in a position where we're going to kind of move him around. So Icky's going to focus on left tackle right now, but he can also slide inside the guard if needed. But Cade, Coach Campen's going to move him around.
Matt, when you guys were evaluating quarterbacks and not having that second and third round pick, did you necessarily watch tape of a lot of them as opposed to just sort of honing in on Matt, for instance?
Yeah, we had the number 6 pick, right? And so we knew we could pick at 6. We knew we could trade back potentially. So we went into all of this, we went on the quarterback trip. We brought all the quarterbacks in. We saw all the quarterbacks at the combine. So we, the extent of all the things that we do, the psychological testing that's done, the medical testing that's done. I mean, the whole picture. So we looked at all the quarterbacks as if, like we do all positions. Hey, would we take this guy at number 6? And then from there, so we cast a net of about 5 or 6 guys that we liked, but we evaluated everyone. But we just kind of came back to, hey, who could fit here? And then, like at every position, we rank everyone and, put grades on them and then set them on the board. We take this guy in the 6th round. We take, there's a couple undrafted free agents that we had on the draft board that are out here that we were able to sign. So I don't know if I'm answering your question, Joe, but I mean, we kind of.
I don't know that I asked it real well. I guess curious, was there something that set Matt apart, or was he just sort of the right guy at that slot where you ended up taking?
No, and I mean, we loved all the certain things about all the quarterbacks, but when we watched the tape, we loved the way that Matt played. At the end of the day, you go through all these different processes, but at the end of the day, when we went back, we loved the way that he played. His release, his moxie, he's gotten injured a little bit because he runs guys over, or he tries to run guys over. But I think at the end of the day, it's still a game of who has the ability to throw the ball, and we just love the way that he throws the football, his release, his vision, his timing, and we thought it would translate over to this level.
And last thing, was there anything during the process? Did Ben ever come knock on your door and say, "I want to show you this play on a Corral game"?
No, because we were talking about it so much. I mean, it was an unbelievably collaborative process, because there's lots of unique my point always was hey, the chances are that there's going to be a quarterback that comes out of this class, which was a little bit, maligned, going in, that that's going to win a Super Bowl. The chances are, right? So let's not be the team that didn't do the work on them. I'm not saying everyone's going to be right, but let's do the work on all of them. So we went and saw them, we visited with them, and I think all of us really kind of settled in on Matt as a guy that we really, really liked. And we liked a lot of things about a lot of the other quarterbacks. I don't want that to be the headline. But Matt Corral, we just liked the way that he played the game. And so we didn't take him at 6, didn't have a pick in the 2nd round when the opportunity came up. We didn't want to give up a future 1 or 2. We thought that was too much for any player. And when the chance came to give up a future 3, for us it was a no-brainer.
I don't know if we specifically asked you about this after the draft, but there's a report with NFL Network that it said, quote, multitude of issues, including alcohol and related issues. Did that ever come up in your scouting report? Was that ever an issue?
We do a background on everybody. We look into everybody, in terms of what issues they have. I don't want to comment on anything about Matt for himself. I think some things might be actually sound more out of proportion than kind of my knowledge of them. I'm more interested in the issues that people have now rather than the issues that they've overcome. I certainly don't want to be judged at who I was when I was 18, 19, and 20. I don't know about you guys, but all of us have gone through things in life. I live a life where I believe, every person I talk to, I say to myself they might be going through something, so I try to make sure I approach them that way. So I think Matt, when we talked to Matt's college roommate, who played for one of our coaches, he said every guy on your team's going to love him. When we talked to the coaches that were there, they said you're going to love him. When we talked to Jeff Levy at Oklahoma, who was his OC, he said you're going to love him. We got nothing but positive feedback from Matt, and I got nothing but honesty from Matt, which to me is, we're all going through something, but those of us who can face our issues and concerns, we have the best chance. So that was never a part of my concern or my process in this. There was never there was never an off-field concern for me. It was just more a matter of, were we going to take him at 6? We were blessed to get Icky, and then he was still there in the 3rd round when we had a chance.
Matt, on another subject, there was a report in Front Office Sports this week that the Panthers were, quote, eyeing Sean Payton if it didn't work out between you and the Panthers this year. I know that's not in your lane, but is it harder to do your job when reports like that surface?
My job's my job. I'm going to attack it, yeah, no. You'd love to have everything be smooth sailing, but I wake up when things happen, when stories come out, when unnamed sources say this, anything that happens, any adversity happens, I say, how lucky am I that I'm going to have a chance to overcome this adversity and be a better coach, person, man, father, all this because of it. So I always hope that it brings a better connection with our players and I, because our players live a life where they never know what's going to happen with them, and I have a much greater feeling for that anxiety that they go through, and so I would like a bit more interconnected feeling. With regards to that report, the first I heard of it, Dave called me and told me that that it was going to come out, that they had called him and that there was nothing to it. I know Dave Tepper well enough to believe that he wouldn't be talking to another coach right now. When he came to my house 2.5 years ago, he told me that this was a 5-year rebuild. I mean, that's what he said to me, and he convinced me then to come be a part of it with him and build it with him. And we're not where we want to be, and I don't think it's going to take 5 years. I don't want it to take 5 years, but those are the words that he said to me, and so. I'm looking forward to taking a step this year. I like our football team. I like the way that we're working. I like this draft. And I have a lot of faith in the people in this building, the way everyone's working, and I certainly have a lot of faith in Dave. That's why I left a great job with people that I loved and cared about to come here, because I believed in his long-term vision to get this thing done. And so, do I want stories like that out there? Probably not. But at the same time, I also know a lot of people lose their edge when great stories about you. So I'm going to continue just to grind and work and, see where things fall.
Do you like this team enough to think that it's a playoff team?
You know me well enough to know I'm not going to start probably saying things like that. But I think we have a team that should expect to win. We've built, and you've heard me use words like process, like where our roster is right now. I like our team. I'll leave it at that. And so it comes down to, what we do as coaches, what we do as players, how quickly we adapt, how quickly we come together. Do we have a common purpose? Do we stay healthy? How quickly guys like Ikem come into the lineup? How guys like Austin Corbett, assimilate? I was out playing golf with Johnny Hecker yesterday, and it was like, what an unbelievable addition that you don't even think about, man. Like, you just added a Pro Bowl punter, and you don't, I'm out there with him. I'm like, I can see why people just love to be around this guy. So I don't know where that means we'll end up. We have a tough schedule, hard schedule, fun schedule, but I think we're a team that's ready to go play.
I know Ben announced that Sam was a starting quarterback a few weeks ago or a month ago, whatever. But do you consider that competition open as you go into minicamp and training camp, or is it Sam Darnold's to lose? Right?
Yeah. And before Benny came back in, last time he's used to being the head coach, So and then I think halfway through he realized the head coach should probably say that, so he came in. But yeah, as we sit here right now, if we played today, Sam would be the starting quarterback. I think everything's up for competition, Now, when I say that, is Christian McCaffrey our starting tailback? Yes, but as other guys come on, they take on roles, and we can use Christian along with them. So I think everybody's competing for everything, and so we don't draft anybody to come in with the hopes of them being a backup. We don't draft anybody to come in and just push people or give us depth. We draft everybody because we think we want to give them a chance to come in and earn a job on this team. So I've been really pleased with Sam so far through phase 2. He is adapting to what Ben's asking him to do. He's working really hard at it. I think everyone is seeing a transformation in him right now, just from technique and fundamentals and physicality. No, it's early. So I'm excited about where he is, but I'm excited for a competition because I think, that's what this game is supposed to be about. You're supposed to, earn what you get.
Still looking at maybe bringing in another veteran quarterback?
I think those are all possibilities. Yeah, those are all possibilities. I think for us, and obviously Scott's handling all that, but I think for us it was, to get through the draft, get Matt here, kind of see where we are with Matt, making that, going back to the question earlier, the transition from spread offense quarterback in college to NFL quarterback is a big one. And so, we'll look at kind of all things. Obviously PJ's 2-0 as a starter for the Carolina Panthers. That's something I think none of us, I remind people all the time in the building, let's not forget, winners win, and when he's gone in there, he's won. So, but we want to have a really strong quarterback room. So I don't think we would say no to a veteran at this point.
We'll take a couple more questions.
No.
Have you, ultimately, oftentimes, we're just talking baseball history with Sam Darnold having struggled. If it ever came down to it, whether you had to, consider putting Matt Corral in, what is the process like for you? how do you determine? Like,
I think you play the player that's a great question. I think you play what player at any position that you think gives you the best chance to win. And so, again, most rookie quarterbacks, don't, they've been better off when they've sat free. I mean, you look at the great young ones, but some of them, Joe Burrow played as a rookie. And so I think at the end of the day, each situation is different. You owe it to the guys in this locker room, though, to play whomever we think gives us the best chance to win. And so as we sit here today, there's no question right now that Sam Darnold gives us the best chance to win. We'll continue to watch his development. We'll look for veterans to come in and compete. We'll look at the rookies, and we'll make that decision as we head into the season. We have a lot of football, a long way to go before we get to that point.
Going back to Ben, watching practice today, it's impossible not to just notice his grasp and command of the offense, specifically in on-air stuff, the 7-on-7. There are times when him and Matt Corral are attached at the hip. Just your early impressions of Ben and the job he's doing with the offense right now.
Yeah, I think he's what we need, right? He knows exactly what he wants. There's no gray area. Everyone understands what we're asking to be done. The quarterbacks are working at a really high level. A lot's being thrown at the guys. I mean, we are throwing installs at the guys that if you talk to some of our current players, they would say they're being challenged. But it's all organized and detailed, and they're being held to a high standard. So I think it's been great. And I think what he's done also is he's come in and he's gone to like Jeff Nixon and said, man, you guys were really good at this last year in short yards down on the red zone. It's not like it's been, hey, he's assimilated some of the things that we've done well, looked at our players, what do they do well. Him and Camp obviously have a great relationship with each other. So I think it's been a really good thing so far. But most importantly, I think our players have adapted to it. And my biggest thing is there's just no gray area. This is what it is. Everyone knows what's expected. Now go do it to a high standard.
Does that allow you to be more hands-off and oversee everything? Is that where?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. That's not who I am. I don't want to be the play caller on offense. I don't want to be the play caller on defense. I want to run the team, and I have I've had that relationship with Phil for a long time. Where we've worked well like that together, and I think I'm going to have that relationship with Ben. And then I'll be honest with you, I've been really, really happy with Chris Tabor. I think watching him work and watching him coach, not a lot. I don't know if you guys were out there for that today, but not a lot today because they're poor guys were out there today. Their legs were the first time they had really done a lot of this. But I think if you came to our practices right now, I think the emphasis on teaching and design and all that on the special teams, I think we're going to see that be an area of strength for us. So I'm happy with all those coaches, and I also like the coaches that are here that we've had. I mean they've done a lot of good things. So I think it's been a really nice marriage so far.
Matt, with Ikem, they talked a lot around the draft about he's a tone setter. That phrase kept being used about him at NC State. Have you seen anything in the last 24 hours that is evidence of, this guy does it the right way, this is what we were looking for?
Not yet, no. Yeah, he's to me he's a rookie right now. This is a veteran-driven league, which you did in college. That's great. That gets you here. Now it's about what you do once you get here. And so the tone setters on this team are they're Christian McCaffrey, they're Taylor Moton, they're all those guys. The young players have to come in. They shouldn't take a back seat to anybody. They're all competing, but it's about what you do moving forward. So everyone's here. Some guys came here as first-round draft picks. Some guys came here as undrafted free agents. You know what? To me, they're all just Carolina Panthers, and it's about what they do moving forward. So I'm excited to see them all come next week when the veterans get here. But it's a long road for all these guys.
I don't know if you saw Matt Corral's interview.
I did not.
He was talking about falling to the third round. He said, "I always play with a chip on my shoulder, but the chip got even bigger." And he said when he got the call from you guys, he said, "I've never been happy and mad at the same time like I experienced that." Could you, first of all, what's that chip look like to you? And what do you remember about the call could you pick up on the happy anger?
Yeah, I mean, I think we posted that call, didn't we? Did we post that call?
Yes.
Yeah, I think you can hear me. I think I say like, hey, no matter what, like ignore the. I could, yeah. I mean, I get it, right? But at the end of the day, like, it's all about what situation you end up in. I got some players who played for me in college that I got calls during the draft, like, what's happening, and they're still playing, and they're on second contracts and making a ton of money. And so, life has a way of putting us in the right situation if we embrace what we think is adversity and say, hey, this is this is the best thing. So in terms of the chip on his shoulder, like I don't really know what that ever means, other than if you wake up half an hour earlier to get over here and you stay a half hour later, then that's really all that really matters.
And are you able to say kind of how you responded? When Dave called you yesterday on the Payton deal, would you mind saying kind of how you responded to it? Because Dave had come out to us recently and said you had his full support.
Yeah, I mean, I just, at the end of the day, like I've said to you guys, we went 5-12 last year. We had disappointing at the end of the year. I can't expect many stories to be good. There's been lots of things said. If anything, for me on a personal note, it's made me really, again, just value what's important. And I'll just say this because I think people need to hear it. Like on the inside, when you walk in these walls every day and you're around our players every day, this is a really good place. Like this is we got more guys here that don't have to be here. Like, so no matter what the perception is on the outside of like, man, that looks a little bit like this, it's not. We have great practices. We have coaches going to dinner with players. We have coaches golfing with players. I mean, we have a great interaction. And sometimes, you know what? Sometimes when things are a little bit like this on the outside, and sometimes it brings people together. And so, I coached 2 years with masks on and COVID. Like I said, Dave told me we had a 5-year plan, and we're 2.5 years into it. It was a hard 2 years, and so I'm not making excuses for it. It's not nearly where we want it to be, but I'm happy with where our guys are at, and I'm happy with where this roster is. And so, when I walk in this morning and see Jeremy Chin. He's training not to have a bad team next year. He's training on a Friday when we're off to go have a good team. So a lot of good things are happening. I'll just keep my focus on the guys because that's what I got into coaching for. I got into coaching to help players, and so I'm blessed to be here. So thanks, guys.